Welcome to episode 27 of ComposerScape. This is an actual full-length episode with me and my co-hosts return, Scott Hall.
Happy Halloween.
Dog. Happy Halloween. We are recording this on Halloween.
That's correct.
Oh, I should have changed my lighting to be a little more spooky.
Extra spooky.
Yeah. Look, I got BB-8 and Darth Vader behind me. That's spooky enough, right? And Darkseid.
Vader. Darkseid.
BB-8's very spooky. So we got episode 27. Boy, did we want to record last week, but you know what? Shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only did the DC Fandome, which, believe it or not, I actually didn't watch because it was just a wall-to-wall thing with no sessions. Like the original one was more like a con where you could like, oh, I want to watch that session and that session. This one was just all strung together. Right. So I waited, and then people extracted the parts. Well, we got trailers galore in that thing. We got the Flash teaser that I talked about in a little clip, but we're going to probably watch again because it's kind of mind-blowing. Black Adam teaser. You know what they call these things? Teasers. I remember teasers would just be like one like little shot and then a title card that said coming soon. Now teasers are pretty much trailers.
Right. Well, the miniature.
They gave some behind the scenes on the Aquaman, and then Matt Reeves dropped his big, huge trailer for the upcoming The Batman movie.
Which you haven't seen yet.
Heavy show, which I haven't seen.
And I'm surprised by that.
I've been waiting for this episode so you can see me make all my nerd faces.
I mean, I do not typically make conclusions about movies based on a trailer, and have a lot of opinions and things about trailers. Right?
Right. Well, we could have a whole episode on the first trailer for Justice League that turned out to be Justice League, because the first trailer for Justice League was the trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League,
right?
And like half that trailer isn't in the movie.
Well, so, let's watch this trailer for the Batman because I'm.
Oh, you want to start with that?
Yeah, why don't we? Because I'm anxious to see what your impression is of it, because I had a very distinct impression of it, which is the kind of thing I hate to have after watching a movie trailer. I don't want to. I don't want to go into a movie with too many kind of foregone conclusions, and I don't want there to be too much. I already
have a hang up on it. They keep saying it's going to be this grounded Batman movie, and we just got a grounded Batman trilogy from Nolan.
Exactly.
That was grounded.
Okay, well,
that was Batman in his own world with no Superman.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything else.
Let's watch it.
You need to watch this trailer.
Let's face it. We'll complain and still go see it. Let's just be real.
Probably.
Fortune. All right. Let's see if this works on the first try. There it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Police! Hands up! Stay still! Get out of here!
Nice.
Fear is a tool. But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call.
Oh.
It's a warning.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to reach you.
Now, right here.
Fire the gun!
This is about a king, and Ritter's the match.
I can take care of myself.
Oh, Dave
This
based
continues. It won't be
her
long
on
before you have nothing left.
year one, Selena Kyle.
I don't care what happens to me.
It's only getting
Super
worse
psyched for
you.
Andy Serkis.
Oh yeah,
Love him.
we've never had a bad Alfred.
Oh, take it easy, sweetheart.
Oh, that's crazy.
Hear
That's
everything they say,
Cobblepot.
ain't you?
There.
Maybe we're not so different. Who are you under there?
The Irish fella.
that looked like Batman.
Colin Farrell. As Chester Cobblepot.
All right.
circles in black, in blue, and red all over.
Jeffrey Brush.
I think that was Riddle
Jeffrey
from the
Rush.
comics.
I got you! I got you!
That's pretty cool. Oh, I like what they did with the A. That was neat. All right. Yeah.
Thoughts? Or I'll just dive right
I
in.
feel like it looks. You know how the first like Batman Begins looked, and Gotham was gritty, and it was dark, and it was like that.
Yeah.
And then he started filming it. I don't know. It just like they never went back to that. What was that park called? A town that looked like the comics. And then Nolan kind of scrapped that for The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. That looks like Matt Reeves is going to make Gotham dirty again.
Yeah.
And yeah, he has some cool lines. I am vengeance and all of this. But is he?
Well,
He has to step into the shoes of Affleck, and Affleck is the most Batman there's ever been.
so
And it's a little disappointing that we don't get more of that.
the one thing I'll say about that is visually, the way that the costume and the cowl and everything is kind of working for Robert Pattinson here. The scenes of him with the costume on and the cowl, he looks like a young Ben Affleck's Batman. He looks like this is a prequel to Ben Affleck's Batman. Now, I will say this. This is going to be way off in left field, super, super niche, but there is a collection of animated shorts for Batman, and I think it was titled Gotham Knight. And it was a collection of shorts by several different animators, and a couple of them are very kind of Japanese anime style. And there's a version of Batman that appears in those shorts that the bat suit, his costume has like a collar, right? Where the cowl doesn't come down over his neck, down onto his sternum, but rather it's almost like a helmet, right? Like a headpiece, a little bit like what Christian Bale in the second Nolan film, right? When he has when he has him redesign the suit so that he can turn, he's like, oh, you want to be able to turn your head. It's like, yeah, that'd be great.
There's versions in the comics like that have.
And so I love that. I think the bat suit looks fantastic. I think, Pattinson's got this kind of cleft chin,
on the bat suit,
right?
yet.
So it looks a little bit, and the elephant in the room, it clearly appears to be bulletproof. It's made out of some kind of high-tech weave or something like that, right? And so that was one of the things that they introduced.
The Affleck cowl, it was supposed to have it had a helmet on it. It had armor in it.
Well, it was some kind of bulletproof weave, right? And there was and so I think that was one of the things that people didn't really talk about a whole lot when the Justice League and the Batman versus Superman kind of version came out. Like, oh, Batman's bulletproof. And, at least in the comics, I'm not that well read with too many Batman stories, but I have definitely read several of the Batman stories where, okay, he got shot and now he's bleeding and he's in bad shape, right? He needs medical attention, but he's...
Yeah, they don't do that as much anymore. Now the suit's definitely tactical.
Yeah, and...
It has been for a good couple...
Which
5 to 10 years at least, consistently around the comics.
Makes perfect sense, right? Just for historically, traditionally.
I mean, if you watch closely in the warehouse scene in Batman v Superman, he gets shot straight up in the head.
Oh, absolutely. No. That's
and then gets mad and then throws the guy across the room.
Arguably one of the best fight scenes of it.
They're gonna.
So yeah, let me throw this, and I haven't even really addressed kind of the tone of this trailer. Your initial comment.
It's supposed to be very adult. It's supposed to be very like horror-ish.
Again, my initial impression, and I hate having such a foregone conclusion based on a trailer. I really try to remain neutral, and like you said, I'll probably still go see it. It seems to borrow very heavily, and borrow's probably a terrible word. I don't mean to say that. I mean, it's a Batman movie, but it screams to me like this is the Nolan, the tone that the Chris Nolan trilogy had with Christian Bale. It looks very grounded in reality, and just the lighting, the tone of the whole thing. It's
They haven't shown enough Bruce Wayne.
yeah,
They haven't shown him being Bruce Wayne, and if he's a sad sack, Jon Snow type Bruce Wayne and Batman, that's going to be a bit much. Bruce Wayne tends to be he's not even like Tony. I mean, he's a serious guy, but he's also Bruce Wayne.
he's a little more James Bond.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he was. James Bond's parents were killed too.
here's what I'll say.
I laughed at that.
In early kind of leaked pictures and footage, and what we knew about the story early on is that this is a young Batman. Very early.
I think it's Matt Reeves said it's the second year of him being Batman, so he's already in contact with Gordon and all of this.
And so we get a very kind of raw, at least what it looks like to me, relatively low tech Batmobile, which appears to be some sort of a converted armored Dodge Charger. Maybe
this is the first Batmobile that, like, when they first revealed it, I was like,
yeah, it's a car.
Okay.
It appears to be.
Yeah.
It might be a Charger.
It's got the jet engine thing in it, but I'm not gonna lie, you don't go from this,
Yeah,
to that.
well,
You don't go from this to that.
it's early kind of young Batman, right? Before he figures out, like, I need to, find some off the grid military contractor and find some sort of custom made miniature tank.
Now, see, I'm going to give us props here because I know that there's probably been several streamers and podcasters who've come out, but I bet you a large portion of them are the MCU only crowd, and that their big complaints are like, wow, there weren't any jokes.
Oh,
It's too dark. You can't see anything.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. No, I am cautiously optimistic. It's an Elseworld. I have the same feeling going into this that I had about the Joker, and
meaning
went to see the Joker,
Heath Ledger's
and got
Joker?
blown away. No, the Joker. The watching the Phoenix movie.
Yeah.
I was like, no. When I saw it, Heath Ledger's Joker, I knew that was going to be awesome.
Well, sure.
But yeah.
I mean,
the cast around Pattinson's excellent. What they got to be careful about, and what we finally got away from, was where everyone else in the movie was more interesting than Batman. I mean, in the Nolan movies, typically, everyone else was more interesting than Batman.
including Bruce
Especially
Wayne.
in Dark Knight.
Including Bruce Wayne, is that what you mean?
No, I meant Bruce Wayne Batman. They're the main character, but the other characters tend to be, maybe not in Batman Begins, but definitely in Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. The villains were more, they kind of stole the show from the hero.
I don't agree.
The hero was very much the straight man. You don't think that Heath Ledger's Joker stole the show from?
Well, he absolutely was. Yeah. I mean,
Tom Hardy put on quite a show too.
But to say that Christian Bale kind of fell flat,
No.
I don't agree with that.
No, I didn't say he fell flat. I was just saying that the character Batman was never the biggest thing in the Batman movies until Affleck did it in BVS, when they cut it so much that Superman wasn't in it enough, and
I don't know
the theatrical version.
But
anyway,
I really enjoyed and appreciated Christian Bale's portrayal. The Nolan
I
films
love those movies.
Standalone, and so
at early discussions when Nolan got Snyder, they were in early discussions, but they didn't know how to rectify it with the ending of Dark Knight Rises. But they wanted that older, grizzled Batman to be Christian Bale's Batman. Then that would bring it into that universe. Superman arrives in the world where Bale's Batman has. But at the end of it, he wanted to end his trilogy, which is understandable.
Of course.
Not every director gets to.
Of course. There was one other thing I feel like I was going to point out with this movie. We didn't get to see, it doesn't give you much Riddler. You get to see a bunch of the Cobblepot.
We
get a lot of Penguin. But
Yeah, that was cool.
And-
they did show several shots of the Riddler, and he's just
Zendaya.
like some sort of psycho serial killer.
Zendaya playing
Not Zendaya.
Selena Kyle.
Not Zendaya.
It's
That's not Zendaya.
Oh.
That's
sorry.
Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz. That's Zoe Kravitz.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. My apologies. Yeah. Okay. Right.
I tried to save you. I was like, not Zendaya. We'll talk about Zendaya in a bit.
Yeah. Sorry.
So do we want to stick with the DC stuff?
Sure.
And then
Yeah.
give our little Dune chat at the end?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because I already saw. Okay, that was fun. That was definitely the most viewed trailer from DC Fandome because there wasn't they did not restore the Snyderverse. They did not release the Iyer cut. They suck.
I think.
But the other thing, let's stay on the Batman.
So yeah, well, let me say what this is the last thing I'm going to say about this, and I apologize if it's redundant because I know I've mentioned this on previous episodes, but here is the only beef that I have ever had with the way that Batman is portrayed in the movies, with the possible exception of Michael Keaton's first couple of films. And I need to go back and watch those. With the
if you're
two
about
films,
to bring up the detective thing again,
yes,
I'm going to stop you, and you cannot say it again till you sit down with a notebook and watch Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition,
yeah,
and time out all the scenes that are just Batman doing detective shit.
okay,
That's like literally 70% of what he does in the movie.
fair enough.
He's tracking down the what ends up being Lex Luthor getting the kryptonite.
That's true.
He's doing the things with his phone to get the dude's info.
Well,
he's
yeah.
putting the tracker in Lex Luthor's computer, and he's investigating things. And he has all this stuff going on the back computer.
No,
he's very much a detective.
I get that, and maybe that's my sentimentality, wanting to see some other kind of older, kind of old world, lower tech kind of detective work. I don't know, because I think in my mind, I'm wanting to see something that's more Sherlock and less James Bond. I guess because
Batman
he is doing
a great detective.
Yeah, well, he is doing the detective.
He's the
work
world's greatest.
In the Batman v Superman, he's leaning so heavily on some kind of ridiculous tech, right? That's I'm gonna set my phone down on the bar and I'm just gonna clone this guy's device, and now I'm just gonna sort through your email, right? I'm gonna.
That's how Batman works.
I guess, yeah. No, it's fine.
That's how he's always. I mean, he's the world's greatest detective because his superpower is
I'm rich.
He's rich.
That's right.
And so, yeah, if you could build your own Google, then you're the world's greatest detective.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not. You're right. You're right. I just said.
But yeah, you need to quit. Oh, sorry. That's a preview mode. So like, I don't.
Okay.
That was probably awkward for the audience that didn't hear anything. Do you want to watch this? This gave me shivers. Actually,
yeah.
This got me more excited for seeing Batman's than the actual Batman movie coming out.
Okay.
So here we go. You've seen this one, I assume, but I love it. This is like my 10th time seeing it. Here we go. When I press play, note the music straight from the first Batman
Tell me
movie.
something.
Speaking of Michael Keaton,
You can go anywhere you want, right? Any timeline, any universe.
That's Mother's house. You know it is.
of course.
Why do you want to stay?
This is right out of the Flashpoint.
Fight to save this one.
Yeah. Oh, he was in regular
Changed
clothes
the
there. I
future.
bet he did change people. That was Keaton's
Yeah, he
count.
changed
People
the
worked it out.
Like
The
it's
ring. Yes. Oh my God, childhood.
Are you in?
Yeah. That's the other Barry. I wonder where he picks him up. What universe is this Barry from?
Holy
Give me this movie. I can't wait. I'm excited. Now, there are some diehard Snyder fans, and we've had this conversation before. There are people that were fans of Snyder, and then he signed on to do the DC movies, and they fell in love with Snyder's universe and really could care less about anything else. And then there are fans of DC that were like, holy crap, we got Zack Snyder. We got the dude that did The Watchmen and 300 doing Man of Steel. Awesome. And we're just disappointed that he's not getting to continue his story. But this is still carrying on from his story. As a matter of fact, the director said they were going to hit a bunch of previous DC movies.
Huh.
Like, we have no idea who's going to show up in these things.
Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Christopher Reeve isn't, but, you know, other than that, you never know. Oh, and George Clooney said decisively, he said, no, I don't think they will ever call me again after my appearance as Batman.
Well,
but your thoughts?
Per your comment about the scene where he's about to tap, presumably this is Barry tapping his mother on the shoulder, right? Coming in and tapping. I think the biggest question that opens up in my mind, you pointed out that he's in street clothes, right? And just regular clothing. It kind of begs the question of how much of the Flashpoint storyline are they going to integrate into this, and how the writers
that scene
choose to do that, because if you take the story in the comics, he changes the past, wakes up in the present, right? Kind of wakes up back in the present,
and his powers are gone.
And has to take a
Batman
cab.
Has to there's this whole macabre scene where Batman is frying him with lightning, and then finally the last time Batman does it, the lightning blows him off the side, because of course it's Batman. He's up on a frickin' cliff, even though it's Thomas Wayne. Yeah. And he goes flying off, but the Flash gets his powers back. He goes, gets him, and then is out cold. But yes, that has to be that scene where he's like, he wakes up and something's different, and then he tries to go to work, and no one knows him, and then because he would never become a crime scene investigator if his mother wasn't killed, so that didn't happen. He remembers, but he's forgetting, and so he goes home to his mother's house, which apparently was something he'd often do, and then sees her and goes in, and he thinks, oh wow, I haven't seen you in years, and when he touches her, she's like, oh, it's just you, Barry.
That's right.
So yeah, that's gonna be really cool.
We'll see.
But what's really interesting is they're replacing the nasty part, the business part. Ray Fisher refused to participate in this movie unless Walter Hamada, one of the heads at Warner Brothers and DC movies, apologized for trying to interfere with the investigation from what happened on Justice League.
Okay.
So they had to write, and they refused because Warner Brothers is awful. So he's out, and he was obviously, if you've seen, read the Flashpoint, Cyborg is a very big part of that. So I don't know what they're going to, and it seems maybe they're replacing him with Supergirl, because we have this Supergirl in it. Well, and then the other thing is instead of Thomas Wayne's Batman, we're getting both in our world,
parallel universe,
have
alternate
Batfleck,
universe.
And then in wherever he's going to the, I think they call it in the CW anyway, they called it Earth 89 because Batman 89. He's getting that Batman. But the really interesting thing I've heard is that
Zachary
the
Levi,
director or his wife, who's his co-producer, said 100% you're gonna get to see Keaton and Affleck together on screen as Batman. Okay. And that they had a great time.
Well, they may just be
Affleck
leaning very heavily into the Batman aspect of this story, because for people who have read the Flashpoint story, this whole, what you just pointed out, that Cyborg plays a major role in that. So do the Amazons. So do the Atlanteans, right? So if you're going to make this movie...
I don't know if they're going to do the big World War story.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the point I was about to make. If you're not going to have Cyborg, you're probably not going to get the Atlanteans versus the Amazonians. You're probably not going to get, because I haven't
haven't even asked the most important
Well, no. I haven't heard any scuttlebutt about the Shazam kids, who also play a very a big role in this.
Who is it? Doesn't Wonder Woman murder all of them? Before they can even say the word, she just kills them all. Yeah, right there, and that's kind of what puts
it's very dark. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what puts the Thomas Wayne was already kind of over the edge since his wife became the Joker. It kind of puts him over the edge, and that's when he kills Reverse Flash, blows a hole right through him, looks through the hole. And that brings up the real question. They haven't even hinted. There's been no leaks. Who's the bad guy?
Well,
in the comics, it's the Reverse Flash.
Of course,
but
Eobard.
Who?
Thawne. Isn't that his name?
It's gonna be. I mean, when they first saw the two Barrys on set, there was a double that looked very much like Ezra Miller that they would use to film that, and then I guess I CGI'd Ezra's face on his. They thought, oh, he's good. Barry's going to be the Reverse Flash. It's like, no, that's stupid. That's not who the Reverse Flash is.
Right. Eobard Thawne.
I have not watched it because when a good director does a horror movie, I tend to shy away from it. But he's very good with the source material, so I don't imagine he would rewrite Eobard Thawne as a Barry Allen. That doesn't make any sense. That's not what the Reverse Flash is. So if it's the Reverse Flash, we don't know who's playing it. That's that one. That is probably the most exciting thing, but there is one more trailer I have not seen from this that I don't know if you watched. Is it that I'm excited for it because the Rock is the Dwayne Johnson.
Are you talking about the Black Adam kind of teaser, which is not it's not a teaser. If you want to play it, go ahead. Well, unless they did actually.
Well, I cut off all the stuff from them talking.
Oh,
I just have the part that's the actual trailer.
Okay, good. Because I did watch that, and it's these little miniature interviews with the cast, kind of patting themselves.
Yeah, they only put up the stream, so you had to watch the stream. So I had to get the stream and pull the trailer part
Okay,
out.
sure.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah,
I can't.
Which
I think Cavill might show up in this, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know because Zachary Levi is not in this.
No, they wanted to give Black Adam his own space before he came up with Shazam. That'll probably be Shazam 3.
Well,
or a Shazam Black Adam movie. Who knows?
It'll be interesting to see if he is actually presented as an anti-hero, if he is going to become a villain.
She's out.
Or Black Adam switches up. Oh.
I mean, historically, he's treated as a villain in the comics, but
yeah,
his motivations have always
been in the Justice
been,
League, dude. Did you hear what I said? He's in the Justice League right now. In the comics. Whoa. Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know. I've really gravitated towards the magical side of both DC and the MCU. I think I'm going to get excited for that the further we go. He's been hinting at, if not in this movie, at some point, Cavill's Superman and him going toe to toe. But everyone talks about this. They're like, oh, Cavill's Superman would be the only thing that can compete with him. It's like Cavill's Superman can't compete with him. And even The Rock knows this, and he's repeatedly telling people, he's like, magic to Superman is worse than kryptonite. Magic, absolutely, he might as well be immortal.
He's just not invulnerable to it.
Right, which means he's just like us. Like, it's the same as if Shazam zaps us and zaps Superman, it's going to have the same effect.
So
we can't fly away, though.
Right, and we can't throw buildings at people.
Right. So if there's going to come to a point where where Superman needs to take on Black Adam, or Shazam needs to take on Black Adam, it's going to need to be both of them. It's going to need to be Shazam and Superman, or Shazam and Supergirl.
Yeah.
Even the whole Shazam family would probably have a problem with Black Adam, because there's one thing. and they pointed out in the comics, is that Shazam is self-taught, and Black Adam is not.
Okay. Well,
Shazam, the wizard gave him the frickin' power of Shazam and died.
Yeah.
He comes back in the comics, and I think he comes back in the next Shazam movie too. But yeah. So what do you think of it?
I think there's not enough there to really draw a conclusion. I think that was a very teaser.
Yeah. He looks great, though. I wish they would have given him the pointy ears, but I don't think they maybe they are gonna in post or something. They didn't really show it in the teaser without the hood on, though. Yeah.
eBay.
But some of the other pictures he's shown, if they did give him pointy ears, it's not makeup.
Right.
So I don't know. He might not have pointy ears. I mean, it doesn't really make sense if he's made the same way as Shazam is.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. So that was the DC Fandome stuff. Their slate looks pretty strong. There were no really good surprise announcements. This DC Fandome, it didn't carry the excitement that last year's did, but of course last year's they were dropping the trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League, so that was kind of a big deal. But the Flash, I don't know. In order of excitement, I would say it's probably the Flash and then Black Adam and then the Batman. I'm really still more and then actually even before that is Aquaman 2,
right?
Shazam 2. There was they haven't filmed enough of Shazam 2 to have anything really to show for that.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the DC universe, even though it's not as connected as Marvel. I don't know. It's still nice watching a movie knowing that somewhere out there, there's other people. Like somewhere out there's Superman, somewhere out there's Batman, somewhere out there's Darkseid coming with his frickin' armada. It'll just take him a while because he couldn't use the boom tubes because the mother boxes are dormant again.
Right.
But yeah.
So we finally had a chance to see Dune.
Yes, I've seen it twice,
and I need to see it I need to see it a second time.
Yeah. I want to watch it a third time, to be honest. It's so I figured we could do let's try this spoiler free. Although if you've read the book, there's really not much. There are some spoilers. And since I've been harping since they announced this movie that I think it will be a lot more fun to watch the movie and then read the book, and because you know what, when someone dies in a book, you can just scan forward through some pages and be like, oh, they really did. It doesn't have the same effect as when. All right, the Jon Snow. I don't know. They drug the Jon Snow death out for like a whole chapter, and it happened at the very end. And Game of Thrones chapters are long.
Yeah.
But in this movie, I feel like these surprises are more fun if you see them on the screen, and then you can get the backstory from the book. So that was a really long justification. If you want to go spoiler, we can go spoiler. But I think that we're going to have to do a longer discussion of this movie at some point.
No, not necessarily. And this is a story that is, from a world building aspect, epic fantasy or epic science fiction, where, you know, if you have read the book, there is a ton of just deep backstory and the culture of these different civilizations that are millennia old. And traditions and just a lot of things that he builds into the culture of these people that's actually difficult to understand if you haven't read the book, and you get just enough of it with this presentation of the movie. I think it's probably a big criticism of the David Lynch, the 80s version.
Oh yeah,
movie.
Where they had to just kind of they tried to put the little bits at the beginning of chapters of Princess Irulan, kind of telling you what was going on. No, I like the way Villeneuve. Oh Jesus, why did I try this? Dennis, let's just call him Dennis. I know we'll be interviewing him soon. The way that he did it, where you're kind of getting, instead of in the book, you're kind of told the history of Arrakis as you go. And the Bene Gesserit and all of that, but we're kind of getting it all from Paul's perspective.
Yes. Right. And so
we're learning along with him, and I thought that was nice.
And that's, I think, the unique aspect of the film compared to the book is that certainly in the book, as with most novels, right? You are getting multiple perspectives and you're learning things that are happening that the main character isn't. And they did a really good job of kind of presenting the story just from Paul's perspective so that when things are supposed to be a surprise, you're very surprised.
That would explain out. Also, that would explain some of the little subplots they left out. There was something with drunk Duncan and Jessica that didn't happen.
And it would end up being a 4-hour-long movie. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the thing about taking a book like this and turning it into a film. And
we got our sequel.
Yep.
We've been told we're getting the sequel. So we'll at least finish the first book, and he wants to do Messiah and Children of Doom.
Well,
and that kind of completes Paul's story arc.
Yeah.
And slight spoiler alert: Paul is not that heroic in the end, but whatever.
So, as far as the just visually. And the set design, the costumes, the cinematography, the ships,
locations, the absolute, like every ship is as big as the Death Star type thing. Oh, did you catch? They tried to make it clear because they showed when the ships were landing on Caladon, the big carrier ships, you know, the big kind of square ones. Then they showed the Space Guild vessel they were coming out.
Yes.
They were just little dots coming out of this thing.
Absolutely. And that's what I mean. It's when they did a pretty good job of giving you a sense of scope and scale. And I mean, you just absolutely have the sense that these civilizations, which are millennia old, are the resources that they have
years from now.
Yeah, the resources that they have access to, right, in order to build these cities in orbit. Right, these kind of traveling metropolises.
Oh yeah, well the spacing guild ships. I don't know if you remember this from the book. They're all hopped up. The spice allows them to have just enough premonition that they can do these things where they fold space.
Yeah,
and like the trip from Caladon to Dune is instantaneous. They're there.
Yeah,
that's why Arrakis/Dune is. Well, I want to talk about what wasn't in it, and it was really amazing. Fayed, the character that Sting played, wasn't in it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And the Spacing Guild. I think we saw some Spacing Guild people when they were having the ceremony on Caladon for them formally taking over Dune. When the Emperor's crew came down, there were a bunch of people in white outfits that had red things, and I didn't know if that was like supposed to be filled with spice or something. But in the book, the space people were, I mean, Lynch took it to a bit of an extreme, but they are in these tanks filled with spice because they have to have that, and they can't have a lot of water around them either because they're kind of like a bit sandworm, a little. Yeah. So yeah, that was we didn't get introduced to the Spacing Guild or Fayed. I can't remember the character's last name. We did get a healthy dose of the two Mentats, and the Mentats are really interesting because in that future, they don't have computers because sometime around the year 2500 or 3200 or something like that, our years, the computers finally advanced, and there's this AI called Omnis. Omnius. And the humans defeated it. When they defeated it, they said, no more computers. Humans will always be the superior thing. And that's why they don't have computers in the future. But they do have human computers. That's what the Mentats are.
Yes.
That's why when they were calculating, their eyes rolled up.
And you don't...
Well, we got the main Mentat. And the other one I was going to say, and this has blown me away because I watched that whole movie. I was like, no way. Is that really him? I want to talk about two actors having an exceptional year. Batista, who was amazing in Dune and also amazing in Army of the Dead. But even more, David Dastmalchian, the Suicide Squad. He was Peter DeVries. That's a big role, and it's a serious role. And he just is shockingly great. I loved him ever since. Actually, you know what the first thing you probably saw him in was? Dark Knight. The scene where they tried to assassinate
well, that's
the
right.
mayor.
Yeah.
He's the one that the fake cop.
Yeah. How about that?
And then in Ant-Man, he plays the kind of foreigny guy in their little security office.
Sure enough.
Then Suicide Squad, boy, that was a coming out. And this Polka Dot Man, him and Ratcatcher 2 were like the best part of that movie. Well, King Shark. But
Yeah.
anyway, so the casting was so spot on. I was a little unsure about Timothée Chalamet. Knew he would do a good job. He was a lot lighter, but also with the seriousness of Paul. It seemed like in the trailers, and we can go on a trailer rant again if you want. They only showed him being like super like serious, but in the movie he tended to be a little more like Paul is early on, because you really got to get that Paul before Paul turns into Muad'Dib, because once he's Muad'Dib, he's not the same character.
Right.
The woman playing Jessica, whose name I just slipped my mind, was
Rebecca
amazing,
Ferguson.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, perfection.
Yeah, she's an actress.
Oscar Isaac was well cast.
I don't know. It's probably not fair to say she came out of nowhere, but she was in the most recent or the one before last, the Mission Impossible, as the British agent opposite, Tom Cruise, and I'd never seen her before. So who is this?
Mm-hmm.
And she's been in several things since then, and is excellent.
Very
she was
well
in Doctor
cast.
Sleep, right? The Shining sequel. And
that's what that was her big like solo role, and I have not watched that yet. Is that good? I'll watch it anyway.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the main thing about this movie. The story. The only way to make the story for Dune bad would be to try and do the book in one movie. You know what? I would have loved if they would have let Lynch loose. If they would have let Lynch do whatever he wanted, which probably would have meant splitting the book into 3 movies.
yeah.
And I'll still watch that Lynch one. The Lynch Dune is kind of, to me, like the Kubrick The Shining. You know what I mean? It's not really the book at all.
Yeah.
That's Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. That's not Stephen King's The Shining at that point. And David Lynch's Dune is definitely David Lynch's Dune. But yes, I still picture, what is his name? Jeez, I can't. It's going to be really rough to do a podcast with movies when you can't remember actors' names.
Right.
The guy from Twin Peaks. That's who I picture when I read the book. I can't get his face out of my head.
Well, so
he's the only one, though. All of the new cast members, the Bene Gesserit, we're going to get a whole series about them, apparently, unless the Warner Brothers messes that up.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Thank you,
Yep.
Kyle MacLachlan. That's some damn good coffee. I use that GIF a lot. But, yeah.
Well, I'll probably have more to say about it after I've been able to watch it a second time and finish rereading the book. And we can look forward to another part.
We should do a big-time Dune breakdown.
I need to... I think that's probably a good place for us to probably conclude.
Yeah, I need another drink.
I think we've managed to talk about several little things for nearly an hour.
We got it all in under 45 minutes. We're at 42 minutes. This is great. I'll have this downloaded by Tuesday.
Next episode, we can discuss Eternals. See what we think about the Eternals.
Yeah.
Coming out next weekend.
I gotta go into a theater again. Oh, I'm very excited for the Eternals. Very excited for the Eternals. But every tweet I've read said, "Oh, the theater was packed." It's like, oh, I don't want to go into another full. But you know what? The cases are going down.
Yeah.
I'll just double mask and do it. Maybe my wife will go with me this time. You never know. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about the Eternals, and that will. Let's see. Does it come out Thursday or did it already come out?
Comes out Thursday.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to do spoiler free, huh? That's only a couple days, and then it's not going to be on Disney Plus. So
yeah.
All good. We'll do that spoiler free. So we'll talk about some other stuff. Maybe we can start.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do the Watchmen in pieces because I just read it.
Boy, we
There's a
overpromised
lot
on
to
that.
try and do
didn't
in
we?
one episode.
We overpromised.
But I have
on
read
that
it.
big time.
But doing that in one episode seems like
it does. Yeah,
a bad idea.
Yeah.
Let's break it up. Maybe let's at least do the first chapter of it.
Okay.
And see how that goes.
Sure.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Like, subscribe.
Yep.
Restore the Snyderverse. Let's watch Army of Thieves. I've heard it's really fun on Netflix.
Okay.
It's from the Army of the Dead universe, but there's no zombies in this one, so you can watch it without having to worry about your family being around.
Oh, Well, all
Look
right
it up,
then.
Army of the Thieves.
Okay.
All right. And have a good night, and we'll see you next week. Or sooner, or later.
Toodaloo, Scooby.